Introverts of Reddit, when was the most inconvenient time your social battery ran out? I have been at a few parties where I just suddenly didn't want to be there and had to leave. It's like a light switch is shut off in my head. I've walked home rather than wait for my ride to be ready to go. I always find that those walks home, while frustrating to start, always ends up being somewhat refreshing for me. Even though I'm not comfortably at home, I'm doing what I want and not under social pressure. The moment I walked into a party, my roommate had taken me along with him, and I knew no one there, so I pulled a Batman and vanished while he was looking away. Have a good old Irish goodbye. At the family dinner right after my brother's funeral. At the funeral, I was able to be that person that received all the hugs and said hello to a ton of people I hadn't seen in years. I kept it together for the most part. However, I also have a really big and overly dramatic family, and by the end of it all I was ready to be alone. So I was happy sitting in my chair at the table while everyone else mingled among themselves. At work, I work as a cashier, and this was 3 hours before my shift ended. Hey, how's it going? Scans as quickly as possible. Get halfway through telling a story, realize it's longer than I remembered, and have to grill through the rest of it. Oh my god. Anytime I start a story without realizing how many backstories and side stories I have to tell in order to make them understand the main story absolutely kills my battery. My wife and I had a couple who mildly annoys me over for dinner and a board game. Game ended around 10 PM. I was at the drained point. Was a perfect time for goodbyes. And then my wife went to the sitting room and started a whole new conversation with them. 20 minutes later, I faked being asleep to get them to leave. I think introverts tend to marry extroverts. We call them our people shields. Middle of a job interview. Laugh my ass off. Why do you want to work here? You know what? I don't. Peace. My friend of 12 years from USA, I'm UK, came over. We met for the first time, and after 2 hours of us playing couch games like Overcooked, I was pooped. I just wanted to play a single player game. So I showed my friend my Oculus Rift. She loved it, played it for a good hour after I set it up. Meanwhile, I leave the room quietly pretending I'm still in the room, and I go to the bathroom with my 3DS to play Bravely Second. To this day they never knew I abandoned them for an hour. I'm no longer dating her, so I don't feel bad, but right in the middle of my ex's mom's birthday, where I was meeting her entire extended family, her aunt got really drunk and passed out in the only bedroom I could have hidden, so I faked feeling sick and hid in the bathroom. Some friends asked me to dinner. It was kind of understood that it would be just the three of us. Go over to their house. Lots of people there. Somebody's birthday. No dinner. I went up to them and said, I'm sorry, but I'm not staying. We can have dinner together another time. Bye. And walked out. Didn't care who thought I was the asshat. Don't pull that crap on me, because you know better. About 2 hours into a 20-hour train ride to New York. Sucks being trapped in a metal box for so long with a bunch of people you don't know. Some that are extra chatty because they are bored and want to make friends. Made me kind of wish I bit the bullet and flown instead, because it would a shorter trip, but flying gives me terrible anxiety. I was at a wedding for my friend from grad school. I care for her dearly, and her husband is also a good friend of mine. I even flew to New Haven, just to be there for them for a single night. I ended up being that gloomy looking guy in the corner. On my 20th birthday, when an entire Johnny Rockets restaurant was singing happy birthday to my twin brother and I had to play it off like I was laughing so hard that I was crying when really I was having a horrible panic attack. 2 days into a vacation to this beautiful little town in the Alps. I was there with a close friend to visit another friend. We weren't spending a dime for the hotel or food. Beautiful weather. I had a panic attack in the middle of a busy bar because we had the opportunity to stay 2 days more free of charge. I just couldn't take not sleeping in my own bed for a night more. We ended up staying, but I was completely emotionless the whole time. Funerals. Been a part of the family at 2 funerals of 2 family members within the last year. It's exhausting for me to have to stand there and shake hands and hug people, some I haven't seen since I was little and some I've never even met. Was on my way to my good friend's birthday party. I made it to her apartment door and heard all the friends she had over. Probably only about 5 to 6 people. I didn't even make it in the door. I just turned around and went home. Definitely at a job interview. Question was, what do I do for fun? I didn't care to tell them anything personal. Told them I don't do anything for fun. I just like to get stuff done, and said so with a tone that was obvious that I was finished answering. Did not get an offer. In the middle of a funeral. Funerals are already stressful, especially if it's a close family member. So, the closer the relative, the more you are involved in the funeral, and before funeral stuff, and after funeral stuff. So, the social battery gets all used up before I even get to the actual funeral. I stayed, like any reasonable adult would, and even made myself go to the graveside service after. After that though, nope, I was out. The big dinner at the grandmother's place for the family afterwards. I just couldn't handle anymore. I felt bad, but at that point I had to take care of me. This past Saturday at a pro wrestling show I was hosting, 10 minutes to bell time, I just had a straight up panic attack. And I had to internalize it, because I was still getting everyone in the locker room situated, and making sure my camera guy knew what he was doing and queuing up the music, and prepping the ring announcer, and making sure concessions had everything they needed, all while running through a spot that involved me later in the event. I'm standing there, talking to a wrestler who had tons of experience on TV, and wrestled in front of tens of thousands of fans, and I'm doing my best not to cry or pass out. Great fun. During labor, I literally was like, I wish all these a-holes would hurry up and leave already, and it was just the nurses / surgical staff. I just ran out of energy and couldn't bring myself to be gracious through another round of endless congratulations. Like, yes, I get it, you're excited to be here too. That's great. Go away. Only no, don't go away, because there's a baby incoming. Pretty big introvert here. Decided to go to a school dance because my friends were pressuring me to, and felt absolutely dead inside about halfway through. The music was so loud and so bad my ears were in pain. Also my friends somehow disappeared and I couldn't find them, so I went outside and just played cornhole. While on a party boat for my cousin's birthday in the Chicago harbor. Extremely crowded, music loud as hell. Couldn't sit down or really walk around. Couldn't get off the boat as it was out cruising, and had no idea how long it would be before it docked again. Fortunately I found that the front of the boat had this large quiet deck that was almost totally deserted except for a few couples who went there to fill each other up. I got a couple of glares and one harsh whisper of, "Hey man, get out to here," but I sat far away on my own with my beer and nothing escalated. I actually started enjoying myself there with a view of the city lights. 5 minutes into Christmas morning. My family does a bunch of socializing Christmas Eve, and so I wake up partially drained, and then am expected to be excited and energized for Christmas morning, and well, it's not that I don't like the presents, I just don't have the energy to show and tell you. Best friend's birthday. Had been planning it for a month. Spent the whole previous night and day with her, and was hanging out with her the hours leading up to meeting people at the bar. Thing is, we are best friends with each other, but don't know other people we are friends with. After 3 hours of drinking with, and trying to get to know her other friends, I promptly, albeit slightly drunkenly, ordered an Uber, and left without saying bye. My wife's cousin's birthday party. I don't know why, I just expected it to be a short event. I love the hell out of all of them. They are wonderful people who welcomed me greatly into their family, but that night I was just out. Finished bowling, went to a club afterwards. Once I realized we were going to be there longer than maybe an hour, the battery immediately drained down to minimal. Literally left for 45 minutes without telling anyone. Not my proudest moment in retrospect. Thank you for watching AskReddit. Please like, share and subscribe.